What's up, YouTube? It is Jeff Tuffner here on the Glorious Podcast, and the time has finally come for my Survivor Series 2017 predictions. Let me start off by saying just like this pay-per-view, I don't know if it's like this for everyone else, but it just doesn't feel like a big four pay-per-view. I don't know why, but you know what, maybe I do. It's because it's just the lack of excitement on the card. It just doesn't feel like a stacked card almost. Like, you know how you get that feel for Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, but this is supposed to be that, a similar feel. I don't have it at all. It just feels like it's just, a little bigger pay-per-view than normal. And it could have been much worse than it actually is. And it actually could be a good pay-per-view, but if you remember, I mean, you go back about a month, that card, the original Survivor Series card, that where basically every match got altered over like the last 3 weeks with new champions and everything. I mean, we saw like, 3 titles change hands in like the last 2 weeks, I think, just to alter the matches on the card. So, I mean, they changed it up big time. It could have been much worse than it was because the original card looked like horseshit. I mean, it was what? It was Jinder Mahal, Brock Lesnar. Zero interest in that. Natalya versus Alexa Bliss. Didn't care for that really at all. I did want to see the Usos take on Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins of the Shield. We're not getting that now. We're getting Cesaro and Sheamus versus the Usos, which I'm somewhat okay behind. I mean, that still could be good, but I'm not really interested in it as much, I mean, these champion versus champion matches just don't intrigue me. They're not that intriguing of a match. I mean, granted, they could be good matches, but, like, there's just, like, the story to them, it's stupid. It's, like, legit. This is, like, the bragging rights pay-per-view. If you guys remember back in, like, 2009, 2010, 2 years in a row, they had a whole it was a SmackDown versus Raw themed pay-per-view. It was actually right before Survivor Series. It would be, like, in October, end of October. They had bragging rights. It was Raw versus SmackDown, and the big match at the end was a 5-on-5 elimination match, kind of like what we're getting tomorrow night on Survivor Series. So I mean, they had that pay-per-view. It's sort of that and a mixture of like Clash of Champions. You do the SmackDown versus Raw, and then you have all the champions facing off, and then you put it together, and apparently you get Survivor Series. They did this theme last year to Survivor Series, and I was a little skeptical going into the pay-per-view last year. But I really thought the pay-per-view turned out to be a pretty decent pay-per-view last year. I don't know, like a lot of people would, disagree. They'd have valid points and all, but I thought the pay-per-view last year, I was okay with it. It worked out fine with me. I thought the main event match, not the main event match actually. Everybody forgets what the real main event was Brock Lesnar and Goldberg. That match went on a minute. Everybody forgets about that match. The match I remember though the most is the 5-on-5 elimination match. That match was amazing. Everything else on the card was pretty solid too last year. I thought it was a really good show. It had a big pay-per-view feel. This one doesn't have really a pay-per-view feel going into it, but then again, that could change come tomorrow night. It's just all how it plays out. I mean, how many times have we gone into a pay-per-view skeptical about how it's going to go out, and it turns out to be actually a really good pay-per-view, or better than normal. One perfect example of a pay-per-view that was complete horseshit. As going into it, it didn't look like it would be anything. It looked like it would be one of the worst pay-per-views ever. Was Battleground 2016 last year, right before the brand split. Everybody had doubts going on to that one. It looked like it was just about to be the worst pay-per-view in history of the business. And that actually turned out to be one of the better pay-per-views was 2016. So, I mean, I don't know. I just, there's been more pay-per-views. I mean, TLC didn't look like it was going to be much of anything. And then, I don't know, guys were sick. Card changed up. And, boom, turned out to be a really good show. So, we'll see what happens. They changed up a lot of stuff. The reasoning behind it is mainly because apparently Vince wasn't happy. He said he was saying something apparently that he wasn't happy with the card. People weren't happy with the card, so he figured he'd alter it, make it more of a big feel pay-per-view. It had a little bit of a exciting matter to it now, but it doesn't feel like it. Just has something missing. I don't know what it is. And I really think it's that the whole like SmackDown versus Raw, and I'm actually okay with. You know what? I take that back. SmackDown versus Raw. I'm okay with that theme. I'm okay with doing these 5-on-5 matches with the women and the men. But it's the champion versus champion matches. I don't care for any of them, really, to be honest. I mean, the Miz versus Baron Corbin could be a good match. Don't care about it at all, though, really. Cesaro and Sheamus versus the Usos, same thing. Alexa Bliss versus Charlotte, same thing. The Shield versus the New Day. There's, like, no story, really, to it. That's what I'm hating here. Like, you go into a normal pay-per-view, you know what I mean? Like, there's something to it. I mean, granted, you go back to TLC where, we had last-minute matches made, 48 hours ahead of the pay-per-view. AJ Styles, Finn Balor. Kurt Angle got thrown into the main event. There was no story to that, but that turned out to actually be really good matches. Those both. So, I mean, not everything needs a story, but, like, man, there's just not, like, but I was excited for that. There's a difference. Like, I'm not excited to watch The Miz versus Baron Corbin. What is it to it? What is it to it? It's champion versus champion. I never understood in past years why WWE always hyped up champion versus champion matches. I remember many years back they do that on the main event of Raw or whatever. It'd be like, hey, it's the WWE champion versus the World Heavyweight champion. It just didn't seem intriguing. I was like, they tried to hype it up like it was the biggest match ever. I was just like, yeah, whatever. It's just nothing special really. I mean, it's just two champions taking on each other. I hate when they try to run with that theme. It's one of my least favorite themes in the company. Without all that being said, though, let's kind of get into the card here. I don't want to ramble on too long about my complaints of the show. I'll probably go right back into it again, though, when I start talking about matches. Especially this first match here, Enzo Amore versus Kalisto for the Cruiserweight title. And I'm surprised they're doing this match again. I thought maybe they'd move on to something else with these guys, but apparently they still want to go. This will probably be the last match in this feud. I'm gonna say Enzo Amore wins the match. I think they'll move on from Kalisto versus Enzo. The Cruiserweight division, on the other hand, has just been a complete disaster from day one, really. But really lately, it's gotten worse. It was getting better there for a while, kind of in the summer. But then as soon as Neville left, it went downhill. Neville left, Enzo joined it. I mean, yes, Enzo helped the Cruiserweight division. It's actually a pretty good addition to it if you think about it, because as soon as they put him in the Cruiserweights, didn't the Cruiserweights main event Raw 3 weeks or 3 weeks in a row or something? And he hasn't done a completely bad job. I know he's now kind of the heel character now. He's supposed to be annoying. He's doing what he's supposed to, but I don't know. I just hate everything about the Cruiserweights. Now you throw Kalisto in there. It really pisses me off how Kalisto and Enzo are the highlight of the Cruiserweight division at Survivor Series. Both guys, though, have only been in the Cruiserweight division max 2 months. And then there's guys like Rich Swann and Cedric Alexander, Mustafa Ali, Drew Gulak. The list goes on of those guys who've been there since day one of the Cruiserweight division, going back to the beginning of September of 2016, who haven't even gotten a title shot yet. And then you just bring in these guys from the non-Cruiserweight division, and then just on the regular roster, Raw, SmackDown, etc., and you just throw them into the Cruiserweight division, and they're getting title shots right away. And I hate how they just don't use the other guys right when they should have title shots, should be getting opportunities that they're not. So that pisses me off there. But I'm just gonna move on from this. I don't want to go too in depth into the Cruiserweights when we got the whole rest of the card to talk about. But I'll take Enzo Amore here. I mean, Kalisto could win, but I feel like they're gonna move on from this feud, so have Enzo win and do something new after Survivor Series. The Miz, the Intercontinental Champion, taking on the United States Champion, Baron Corbin, in one of those champion versus champion matches that I don't care about. And you know the thing with these matches are? I don't know who's going to win. I really don't know. There's no story to it. These two have had, a back and forth on Twitter. That's it. There's been, granted, they're on different shows, so how are you supposed to have on TV build? I mean, that's another thing here, but, I don't, like I said, I've lost all interest in Baron Corbin, really. I mean, yeah, they put the United States title on him, but, man, he should still have that briefcase. If not that, be the WWE champion right now. I loved everything up until they took that briefcase off him. Everything up until then. I love what they were doing with Baron Corbin all year. I was like, this guy's going to be a star. He's going to be big in the company. He won the Money in the Bank. He's going to win the WWE championship. He's a good heel. And then they took the thing off him. They made him lose to Cena in the opening match at SummerSlam. It was just like, what are you doing? I mean, granted, there was the backstage stuff, apparently, or he said something on Twitter, but, man, you just ruined this guy's entire character. You just took him apart. So what do? They try to throw the U.S. title on him. Think that's going to help. If you ask me, the U.S. title run so far for him has been a complete mess. I don't know. I just feel like they've changed his character a little bit, too. It's not the same as it was, say, back in the summer. It's a little different. I don't like it. They changed his theme music. I like this old theme better. I just thought it fit him better. Actually, his new theme right now is not bad. I just don't think it's fit for, an entrance almost. It's actually a pretty decent song if you listen to it. But, his new theme, it just doesn't fit the entrance. I guess that's how you should put it. But, I don't know who's going to win this match. I mean, I might as well just, flip out a coin here and just, heads, tails, who's going to win, I really don't know. I mean, I'm just going to say I'll go with The Miz here because that's who I think would be the ideal person to win here, The Miz. But The Miz could lose and it'll be fine. I mean, he's got The Miz Taraj out there with him and everything, so we'll see what happens. But I'll just take The Miz, safe bet. Cesaro and Sheamus versus the Usos. The tag teams champions taking on each other. I don't know. I don't know what to pick here. I just want to flip a coin on this stuff because I don't know who. There's nothing to it. Who wins? Who loses? Who cares? You know what they should have did? They should have. Would have added something. It wouldn't have been anything major. They should have added it up where the winner of the entire thing wins the show, or sort of where I don't know. You do tallies or whatever. Raw versus SmackDown every match. If The Miz wins for Raw, that's a point for Raw. And at the end of the night, it comes down to the last match or whatever. I don't know. That sounds stupid, actually, come to think of it. But it would have added something to this show that's really just kind of lacking anything at the most. But Cesaro and Sheamus, the Usos. I don't know. Cesaro and Sheamus just won the titles back. The Usos have been champs for a little bit now. They've been doing back and forth with the New Day for a while. It looks like they're finally moving on from that after Survivor Series. Hopefully. I'm gonna take the Usos here. I just think they would make more sense to win. Than the Cesaro and Sheamus. Cesaro and Sheamus have just been like, I don't know. Like I like what they were doing with them. They've been interesting over like the last year or so. Remember when they had like that best of 7 series that was actually really good that we all didn't want to see, but we ended up getting it in almost every match in that best of 7 they had in the like toward the last year in the fall, like 2016. Was actually really good, and especially the last match that we never even got to see an ending to. It just ended, and then they became a tag team, and then they won the titles, and then they were like popular. Everybody liked them. And then they turned heel, and now it's kind of like they're just like, get away from, just go away, just. But I mean, they're not bad heels, honestly. But like, I don't know. The Raw tag team division it's a mess. It's really a mess. I mean, the Hardys, Jeff Hardy's hurt, so Matt Hardy's just. I don't even want to get into that now. I'm gonna start talking about Matt Hardy and how they're just completely wasting him. I mean, he's got the whole broken thing they could be doing. He's right now. He doesn't have Jeff Hardy, but they don't want to do the broken thing. I don't know what they're waiting for. Why don't they want to do it? They have the rights to it, if I'm not mistaken. I think TNA's like out of it or whatever, and they could do it if they want in WWE, but they won't do it. They're like holding back, and they've teased it since the moment they appeared at WrestleMania up until almost every time Matt Hardy appears on TV. They tease the broken gimmick. Either Matt himself teases it, or, the announcers will say something. I mean, as soon as they came out at WrestleMania, Michael Cole said something about, things are about to be broken or something, if you go back and watch their entrance at WrestleMania. From that moment on, it's just been every week, whenever they make an appearance or, something, it's just they tease it. Even on Twitter, every day Matt's like saying something on Twitter that makes you think that the gimmick's going to eventually happen. And then it's just same old Matt Hardy, you know what I mean? And just, I don't know. I don't know what they're waiting for. I mean, it would be genius. It would help Raw so much if they gave him that broken gimmick, but they won't do it. I don't know why. But I think I said the Usos are going to win. Yeah, the Usos are going to win that match. That's who I think would win. We got the women's 5-on-5 tag match, elimination, Raw versus SmackDown. I mean, these matches are kind of hard to predict on too. This entire card, really. I mean, there's nothing like, who's gonna win. It's so hard to predict almost. There's no like clear like where you go into a show, it's like, oh yeah, so and so's definitely gonna win. Like this show really does not have that almost. It's just like really everything's unpredictable, except for maybe a few matches. I mean, who won last year in this? Raw or Smack? I think Raw won last year. The only match SmackDown won last year was the men's 5-on-5. I'm going to say, I mean, Raw attacked SmackDown on Tuesday, so you'd think, like, SmackDown would get the better hand of them going into this show here. But then again, would they win both matches? Does SmackDown win both the women's and the men's match? I feel like they would split it. So maybe I want to say, like, I mean, the men's match, I feel like SmackDown's going to win because it would make more sense because SmackDown got, like, destroyed on Tuesday by Raw. I feel like, though, I don't think they're going to have both SmackDown teams win, the women and the men. So I think I'm going to go with the Raw team for the women. And then the men's match, I'll go with SmackDown team because I think they'll split it up. Or it could be the other way around, but I would assume. I mean, it's either I feel like it would either be SmackDown and SmackDown win or SmackDown for the men's and women. I mean, Raw for the women. I don't think there's any way Raw wins both matches. That would actually surprise me if they ended up going that route, but I'll just take the women for SmackDown in this match. I mean, no, never mind. I said the women. The Raw. Reason being, Raw, I just actually noticed this. I completely forgot about this. Asuka's on Team Raw. They're not going to have Asuka lose. She's undefeated. If they had Asuka lose, that'd be stupid as hell. I mean, she'll probably be the last one on Raw, the sole survivor, because she's not. If she gets pinned, that would ruin her undefeated streak. She's like 500-0 or something. So that they're obviously not going to have Raw lose. So Raw's definitely winning the women's match. Never mind. I don't even know why I was trying to think SmackDown was winning. I forgot all about Asuka even being in the match. Yeah, no question about it. It's actually really obvious here. Raw wins this match. Alexa Bliss versus Charlotte Flair. I mean, I'm a little more excited for this match than I was Alexa Bliss versus Natalya, to be honest with you. It was cool seeing Charlotte win the title on Tuesday on SmackDown. The match here, though, this could be a good match. These two really haven't faced off much since, like, NXT back in, like, 2014, as far as I know. They've been kind of on, like, opposite shows ever since they've been on the main roster. I mean, you think about it, you go back to the, Superstar Shakeup back in April, right after WrestleMania. They were the two, like, top women that's, swapped shows. So they really haven't crossed paths until this Sunday, so could be a good match. I really don't know what to expect really going into it, being that they really haven't wrestled much. But who wins? I mean, I'm just gonna say Charlotte wins. I guess. I don't know. I mean, she just won the title. Alexa Bliss doesn't really need to win. Not that Charlotte needs to win either, but I feel like it would make more sense to have Charlotte win this match. I don't know. I mean, anything could happen. The Shield versus the New Day. I almost forgot about this match. This is an interesting match. There's no title. It's not title versus title. It's like I don't know. Something they said something on SmackDown about like Kofi not being in this match, and was it a 2-on-2? Am I missing something here? Did they just say something completely wrong? Is Kofi gonna wrestle in this match? Is it a 3-on-3? I don't know. I could have sworn on SmackDown though. I remember one of the announcers saying like Kofi's not gonna be in the match or whatever. Is it a 3-on-2 handicap? I don't know, but the Shield's gonna win the match. This is actually a pretty predictable match here, I think. The Shield's got to walk out the win. They got all the momentum right now. They're just back together. Roman's back. He just came back on Monday. It only makes sense for the Shield to win this match. It'll be interesting to see how much longer they run with the Shield thing. I mean, you have to assume they're going to break up sometime before WrestleMania. That would make the most sense. I mean, I don't see them going into WrestleMania as a team. They're going to want to eventually pull Roman out of there and put him in the main event picture against like Brock Lesnar. That's coming. God, I hope Roman don't win the Rumble, though. Please, keep him as far away from the Rumble as you can, because I do not want to see him win the Rumble again. I don't know. I don't want to see a main event at WrestleMania either. I just hope that don't happen. I don't know. Some have said that, the Shield breaking up this time will end up actually leading to a Dean Ambrose heel turn. So Dean Ambrose turns heel on Rollins and Reigns, which would be interesting. I mean, if you remember last time it was Seth Rollins who turned. I mean, if anything, I'd be happy if Roman turned. That would be the best. Roman turning heel, I'll tell you, that would be the day. Don't think it's ever going to happen, though, because Vince thinks Roman's the next John Cena. So that sucks there. But as for this match, though, let's move on to the main event. But no, actually, there's two more matches. The Shield's going to win. I'm pretty sure. I'd be surprised if the New Day pulled this one out. Men's 5-on-5 elimination match. I already said SmackDown. It makes the most sense for SmackDown to win here. I mean, just the fact that they got, like I said before, they got attacked by Raw on Tuesday, and then, they're going to the pay-per-view. Raw's going in, on top, so it mainly makes SmackDown booking over time just shows that, the team that gets, goes into the show weak ends up winning the show. I mean, the match at the show, so SmackDown's going to win here. I saw something the other day on Twitter that was, really interesting. It was, the average ages of, the guys on the SmackDown. The youngest person on the SmackDown team is Randy Orton at 37 years old. That says a lot right there. And over on Raw was kind of similar. I mean, I forget who it was, but, I mean, these guys, you guys think, Shinsuke Nakamura and Bobby Roode. You think those guys are, the future of the company. Even Finn Balor and AJ Styles. Those guys aren't young. They're not, mid-20s, lower 30s. These guys are, upper 30s right now, close to their 40s, some of them. So, I mean, the thing with them was the reason being is they were in all these other companies before WWE, TNA, New Japan, Ring of Honor, etc. And now they're finally coming to WWE now. So WWE's these guys really aren't the future, I'd say. I mean, they got maybe, 5 years or whatever. But, they're not going to be here for the next 20 years. I mean, a guy maybe Braun, I don't know how old Braun Strowman is, to be honest with you. I mean, I hope he's, young, because he could be, a star. He could be, the next kind of, Big Show almost. I mean, not the Big Show we think of now, but the original Big Show. He was he was good. He was a big guy, and everybody you could easily get him to hate him. So I mean, Strowman, if he's young, he's going to be around for a while. I think Strowman. I mean, his character, they've done a really good job. He's one of the only exceptions of guys they've actually built up successfully and gotten people. He's a sort of a face now almost, if you think about it. I mean, he kind of goes back and forth. He's in the middle almost. There's a lot of guys right now in WWE that are in the middle with characters, where it's they're not clearly a face, but they're not a heel either. They're just kind of right down the middle. One night, 1 week on Raw, they're they play the role of a face, but then the next week they're going full heel. And it's not necessarily a turn, because in the week after that they're going right back to being a face again. I mean, Braun Strowman's one of those guys. The Usos on SmackDown seem like they've been kind of back and forth lately. I mean, there's a lot of teams that just have, or if teams and just superstars alone, that have been kind of going back and forth. You can't even tell if they're really heel or face, which is, it's just, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I don't know. It's kind of weird. Now let's move on to the main event. Brock Lesnar versus AJ Styles. Let's just be happy that it's not Brock Lesnar versus Jinder Mahal, who's not even on the card all of a sudden. And that, that brings up the possibility of him interfering in this match. And many have speculated, and there's been rumors coming out on the internet and stuff, saying that he'll get involved in this match and he'll end up, deciding who wins, basically. Hopefully that's not the case. I can actually see him getting involved in this match to where maybe he comes out, attacks AJ Styles, tries to cause Styles the match, but then Brock Lesnar ends up hitting like Mahal with an F5 or something. And then just, like Lesnar sort of goes face for a moment, and then kind of just, Mahal goes out, and then they resume the match, and it doesn't really, decide the ending of the match almost. I'd be okay with that, because it would get people thinking, like, oh, no, here's Mahal, he's going to wreck the match and everything, but he kind of comes out, tries to attacks Styles, and then Lesnar ends up hitting him with, like, an F5 or something, and the match goes on from there. I could see them doing something like that, especially with it being a big pay-per-view in the main event of it, a big 4 pay-per-view and everything. That would make sense for them to do that, but hopefully it's not like, Mahal comes out, costs Styles the match straight up or whatever. But, they might do that because, it's, Mahal's supposed to get a title shot again. I mean, they're going over to India, I think. They actually, like, canceled one of the shows, if I'm not mistaken, for the India tour. They're only doing, like, one show or something now, and they changed the main event. It's, like, Triple H versus Roman Reigns or something. I'm all over the place. Everybody's expecting Mahal to win the title back there. I don't even know if they're doing a match, but I don't know. Let's just hope they don't put the title back on Mahal. I mean, it just makes sense. Here's what you got to do. You keep the title on Styles going into WrestleMania to set up a match with this Shinsuke Nakamura. That makes the perfect sense right there. I mean, we all know we're gonna get Styles versus Nakamura. I mean, it's basically set in stone right now. I mean, you have the title on Styles, and then you just build up with Nakamura. They've teased it over like the past few months. Back in the summer, Survivor Series. I mean, not Survivor Series. Money in the Bank. We got a small preview there when they went at it. So I mean, it only makes sense for them to keep the title on Styles and have it go into WrestleMania with that. I mean, granted, Nakamura and Styles, they don't need the title with them for the feud to be better. I mean, it just adds to it. I mean, I have a feeling like the build for Nakamura versus Styles might actually be kind of shitty, to be honest with you. I don't say, like, I can't, like, I don't know. They're going to turn Styles heel again. I mean, they're obviously not going to turn Nakamura heel. So they would turn Styles heel, or kind of be like a, face-face kind of clash where it's not like no one's really the true heel or whatever going into the show. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like the build could kind of be shitty, but that still could probably be the best match on the WrestleMania card, which, I don't know. I mean, I say build don't matter. I mean, it really doesn't. I mean, it's really just about the wrestling, and the build just sucks so bad, and that's why we go into a pay-per-view all the time saying, oh, it's probably not going to be good, it's going to be awful, and then we end up watching the pay-per-view, and it's like, wow, every match was amazing almost. It's just because the build sucks all the time, and then just go all out on the pay-per-views. I mean, just look at the last, 3 pay-per-views or whatever. Hell in a Cell, TLC, build, there was an awful build. It was awful build for both those shows, but we went into those pay-per-views, and those pay-per-views were both really good. So maybe that's going to be the case with Survivor Series. I can only hope that's the case with Survivor Series, and it's actually a really good show. I mean, I don't know. Looking at it, it's just like there's a few matches that are like, yeah, that would probably be good, but there's a lot of just, bullshit stuff that I don't give a shit about. I mean, and it's a 4-hour show. Add that to it. It's a 4-hour show plus the old 2-hour pre-show, so 6 hours, and it'll probably go more than that because it's a big 4 pay-per-view. So 6 hours of wrestling and stuff to watch tomorrow night. I don't know. I'll be honest with you, I'm looking more forward to tonight, NXT TakeOver War Games. I'll have a review up for that after the show tonight. Within like an hour after the show, I'll do it. So I'll definitely be watching that tonight. That'll probably end up being better than Survivor Series if you think about it. I mean, TakeOver Brooklyn a few months back, SummerSlam weekend, that knocks SummerSlam away. I mean, that was nothing compared. Like, so TakeOver was so much better than SummerSlam. It's unbelievable. Like, it was TakeOver. I keep saying it. TakeOver was one of the best wrestling shows I watched. The one back SummerSlam weekend. It was amazing, that show. Every single match, the 5 matches there were on that show were just off the charts good. I mean, SummerSlam couldn't do anything about it. Like, I thought SummerSlam was actually a decent pay-per-view too, but I thought TakeOver, I feel like maybe the only time WrestleMania was probably the only time I think maybe it was better than TakeOver. And TakeOver was really good too that weekend, but man, they went all out for WrestleMania this past year at WrestleMania 33. I mean, in my 7 years of watching WWE, I think WrestleMania 33 was probably the best WrestleMania I've watched. I mean, the first one I saw was 27, which was kind of when I watched 27 for the first time, I was kind of like, this is okay. I mean, I thought it would be bigger than what it was. And it turns out it was kind of a shitty, first WrestleMania to watch, because now looking back on it, people do nothing but shit on WrestleMania 27. I mean, other than Triple H versus The Undertaker, I think it was, there was nothing really good that happened at WrestleMania 27. Because I saw WrestleMania 28, I'm like, man, this is 1,000 times better than next year. And then it just kept getting better from there on out, really. I mean, everything's been kind of getting better from there on. So hopefully WrestleMania 34 is even better than that. But, yeah, back to Survivor Series. I'm hoping for a good show, of course. Why would I be hoping for a bad show? But Card doesn't seem intriguing. That's an all too familiar thing I've been saying the entire year of 2017 with the pay-per-view prediction videos. But hopefully that's not, that doesn't determine the outcome of how the show goes. So that's it though. Let me know who you guys think is gonna win, lose down in the comment section below. Leave a like, subscribe, go follow me all over social media. Links will be listed in the description as always, and I will see you guys tonight after NXT TakeOver War Games for my review.